Hey, here we go. We're going to call it 0 as I accidentally opened it on my Twitter page. Episode 0 of the Sprint Right Option podcast. I am Andrew Pasquini, Jason Aponte to my right. How you doing, Jason?
I'm great, Andrew. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I watched a lot of football yesterday. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was cool. It was laid back, really didn't leave the bed. Watched some football, it was really weird at 8:30 when there was nothing to watch. Super weird.
Excuse me. Fox Sports 1 had Utah State versus New Mexico. That's how I replaced my Ravens Steelers game.
So as I said, there was no.
Hey, did you? Speaking of the Thanksgiving games, did you see the Washington football team game?
I sure did.
They ran the annexation of Puerto Rico.
The Fumblebrewski was used. Yes, it was used with J.D. McKissick. Man, I was like, oh man, you gotta love it, man. And shout out to Antonio Gibson's 3 touchdowns, which led me to probably a fantasy win this week.
So with the uncertainty of the Ravens Steelers game, I had to drop somebody in my fantasy league, and I picked up the Washington football team defense, and that ended up going pretty well for me. Actually, they got a touchdown. I think I got 17 points. I'm still behind like 35 points because
he started Will Fuller.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. He started Will Fuller, and I'm behind, but that's okay. And I need to win this game actually, because if I don't make the playoffs, and that was $60 down the drain.
That's the thing too, is that the league that I hate, he went off is a money league. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, that's good for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you extra care.
I super care, especially because there's not much to do, especially when we have to stay indoors and stuff. So, but yeah, I super care now.
So kind of start this conversation off, just because we like to have a fake conversation to let people fill in since we're live and all that, and this episode isn't going to be a podcast episode just because I haven't gotten access to the RSS feed, so we got to kill some time a little bit to let people get in. I had a conversation with my dad yesterday, 49er legend Joe Pasquini, 6-stream running back at average, so yeah, you know him. Yep. I'm convinced I can throw a ball 60 yards in the air.
You can.
Do you think I could do that?
But all right. So the problem is, Andrew, we're friends, but I've never seen you before. So it depends on the size of your hand. Like if you can grip a football, I don't. Yes, I mean that kind of helps. I don't. I have no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind that you probably have the arm strength, but it's not about that. If you can't grip the ball's just going to slip out. So.
I guess because see, my big dumb brain says, well, I could throw a baseball 180 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely throw a football 180 feet. So maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. Is we'll go to the local high school down the street and see if I can chuck the
pigskin. Please film that.
That's the plan. Yeah. And if I throw it far enough, I'm definitely going to take the video, post it on Twitter, and then retweet myself with the John Lynch
Oh GIF. Oh, the one of the camera going around him. I love that. Anytime somebody gets hurt or anything like that, I love that they post that one of in the Minnesota game, right? The divisional game.
Yeah, and it's just my favorite thing, because anytime like a player's available or the 49ers that's my go-to GIF. Just
right. Yeah. It's like you know what it is too. It's like that camera angle when it comes across. He's like so like proud, and it's just like like man with the plan. Like this is all like that's if I love it when a plan comes together was a person, it would be John Lynch in that GIF form.
Yeah, no, that GIF is very. I've considered, since I'm a San Francisco Giants fan too. No. I don't have the technology, so if anybody does, thank you. I'm trying to get Farhan Zaidi's face over Lynch, so that when the Giants do something, I could use that too, because it's a good GIF. It's a good overall GIF.
There's a good one. It's called GIF. 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 But yeah, so what you do is basically you just cut the face out, and then if you have the GIF itself, it just puts it on the face for you. So you're welcome.
Okay.
Can we clown? All right. Can we clown on the word Ramley for 1 second? This is Eli. So what happened?
On Grant's show.
Okay.
I think one of them, I think it was Leo. Somebody said that like the Rams defense isn't that good outside of 3 players. And they got Rams Twitter got mad about it because it's Twitter. You get mad about things.
There's a Rams Twitter?
7 people. And one of them said, like, if you embarrass the Ramily, we're gonna come after you. And I saw that. I'm just like that. I'm not mad at that. I think it's kind of creative and fun if that's what you want to do. The Ramily. And then one of them came at, was it Mike? One of them went at Mike for the E40 Bang Bang Niner Gang song. And I'm like, first of all, that song is terrible, and I love it, and it slaps, and it's terrible.
Right.
But don't come at us for that. We E40 just decided to make money off the 49ers. You guys called yourself the Ramily. And listen, I'm not against the name Ramily. I know a lot of Niner fans were dunking on them. Every fan base has their people are going to get mad at me. I really don't like the faithful thing. I just don't. It's weird. It's weird.
Oh, that's it. Well, that was a good run for the show, and
it was a great run for
joining. Yeah.
well, I can say what I want because this isn't going to be on the podcast. So, they dropped a lot of fire gear this year, and anything that said "faithful to the Bay," because also the "faithful to the Bay," I have another issue with just because it's such an unnecessary shot at the Raiders. It made no sense. So that's my thing. But anyways, yeah. So Rams fans, at least a small contingent of them, call themselves the Ramily.
What but what does FTTB? Oh, that's faithful to the Bay. So that
faithful to the Bay.
We should change that. We should change that to something else.
I prefer faithful to the Bay over Quest for Six though.
Oh God, get all these mantras out of here.
Quest for Six was fun when it was when it was the first time.
That 1 year,
and then when you lose the NFC Championship, it's like no Quest for Six, and then they lose the Super Bowl, and then it's the third time you get Quest for Six. It's like. Let's get something new here, guys. I'm fine with just hashtag 49ers. We don't need anything super fancy.
There you go.
Hashtag. Let's brainstorm. Hashtag. Let's brainstorm. Hashtag tank for Zach. Well, no, they're never gonna go for that.
No, all right, no. Hashtag high ankle sprains.
Hashtag high ankle sprains. Hashtag extended run game.
Hashtag concussion at walkthrough.
Hashtag I got a good one. Hashtag Shanny's Doghouse.
Oh,
that should be
it. I like it.
That's a good fan base name, actually. If we call ourselves the Shanny Doghouse.
There's one more. Hashtag McKinnon from the Wildcat. I'm all for that.
Oh man, play of the year, right?
Play of the year, absolutely.
I didn't listen. I tried to make things light on that, asking that question. And the comments just came. I was trying to be positive, and the comments were just ruthless, and I apologize for that.
I loved it. I thought it was funny. But all right, look.
It was great. It was great. Great content. I loved it.
Right. Let's see, Tony. Niners IR list.
Niners we just got to get the Niner logo on it,
Leaping
Ayuk. I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like Shanahan's Doghouse though. I think that would be really a fun official hashtag.
That is good. That one or hashtag Pettis fumble.
I was.
All right, come on, let's go. Let's get some.
Are we ready? Are you ready to have like a real episode?
I am.
This is not bye week. We're in week 12 now. The San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams for the second time this year. The first time these two teams faced off. I believe the 49ers won 24-16. That's off the top of my head. And that's what the final score was. The 49ers won 24-16. They're looking to extend their 3-game winning streak against the Rams right now, actually. They swept them last year. This game, I've really gone. This is one of the first games in a long time I've really gone back and forth. I think the Rams are really good. I think the Rams are better than what they were in week 5, 6, whatever it was when they played each other last. But there's still parts that Saleh definitely has McVay's number. Shanahan has McVay's number, and it's really up in the air for me. I'm curious to see what you think, though, because you've been texting me about, man, I've been watching the Rams. I'm ready. So I want to let you cook for a minute, see what you think on the Rams and what you see from them, because you've watched way more tape on them than I have this week. What you expect from them and how you think they can adjust to the 49ers, seeing they've lost 3 in a row to them.
Right. So I have some quick stats too, like really quick. So the 49ers currently right now as it stands have a 0.0 chance of getting the top pick. Okay. But they have a 4% chance at a top 5 pick. Just throwing that out there. Okay.
Just number, just stats.
Just stats, yes, just numbers. And as far as total playoff chances, it actually went up 0.2% to 4.6% for the 49ers to bag a playoff spot. So just want you to keep that in mind when you're thinking about this game. But yes, with the Rams, a lot of credit goes to what the 49ers did on offense and did on defense. They played a hell of a game, mixed up their coverages very well. That's really what I noticed when I watched this last replay again. I watched it earlier today, so it's like really fresh in my mind. They start the game at zone, they start the game at man, then they're flipping into zone and things like that. Here's the thing that I think I walked away from, that I already thought about this game that I feel a little bit more nervous about now. The Rams really played bad in this game. Yeah. Badly, right? As much as the 49ers played well, not gonna take that away. The Rams played bad. There was plenty on the tape that was missed. Goff missed a deep crosser to Kupp on the first drive, which would have extended the drive. And then they, we all know the Kupp drop touchdown. We know 9 out of 10 times that's never going to happen again, right? So that all happened, and then the Verrett touchdown. There was times where Kupp was just a step off. The throw was bad. Goff was off. So I don't expect that Jared Goff is going to be this bad. I'm going to tell you why. We didn't get any pressure on him last game. None. If he did something bad, it was because he was either feeling something too early or just made an erratic throw. Yeah. So the 49ers are not going to be coming as hard as last game, right? They're not going to have the pass rush to do this again, right? So this is what gets me worried now about this game, right? And it's a little bit different right now at this point. Now, we know that we got some reinforcements coming back in this game, right? We found out today, Richard Sherman, so that's on the defensive side. Richard Sherman, we're getting back. K1's not coming back this week. Dre Greenlaw is questionable. I would think he's going to play because it's an illness, non-COVID. Who else? Is there anybody else on defense? In
terms of defense, I don't think anybody else on defense is back. Offense got a big boost today.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll get over to that. But, yeah, on the defensive side, so Richard Sherman being there, right, this kind of is a weird time, right? Like, Sherm has to play, right? But I think that what the 49ers did so well the first time against the Rams, they won't be allowed to do this time with Richard Sherman because they're going to have to play so much cover 3. You don't want to leave him in man with either Woods or Kupp or even Josh Reynolds. That's just not his strength. That's not playing to his strength. That's not a knock against Richard Sherman. That's just not what you would do. He has to be in the cover 3 zone. The problem is that when you run cover 3 zone, you have to run zone blitzes. You can't get as exotic when you're running man across the board, with Jamar Taylor off the nickel corner and all those things. So it's going to be another challenge for Robert Saleh again to find a way to, hold down his defense, because if they think that they're going to rush 4, maybe bring another person, they're probably going to get picked apart. And that's what I get afraid of in this game. And that's kind of what I noticed, at least in that game. And the way that they're playing right now, they're ascending. And you're absolutely right about that, Andrew. It's like they're moving up. Like, this isn't the same team that we played. They're not at the same point, and that's what's scary.
And Melissa makes a good point. Kenlaw came off the COVID list as well, so he's They never lost him because he was on the COVID list at the bye, but he is back as well. And you mentioned the start of the game, kind of the mistakes the Rams made, and we said this, post game for that game. The final score was 24-16, but it was one of those games where the score lied a little bit. Yeah. The Niners really dominated that game, and I just don't see that happening again because the Niners. That was a healthy 49ers team, quote unquote healthy. I don't think Mostert played that game, but it was Garoppolo, was Kittle.
He did.
Did Mostert play that game?
Yes. Remember, he was crushing in the beginning, and then remember that's where he got hurt again.
Is that where he got?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, so they had him for a half. 17 carries, 65 yards for Mostert. But it's going to be different because instead of Garoppolo and Kittle, it's Mullins and Reed, which nothing against Mullins and Reed, that they're just not who they are. or they're not as good as who Kittle and Garoppolo is. So the offense is definitely going to have a challenge. And I guess I'll talk about the offense. We did this kind of nice. You talked about the defense. I'll talk about the offense. Ayuk seems to be out. I feel like I missed something exactly what it was. But Ayuk seems like he's not
COVID.
Play.
Yeah. So it's more the way that Shanny was talking about it in the press conference. It wasn't anything that he said that was definitive. He just made it sound like he was less optimistic than Trent Williams, who it's a possibility that they both miss. I am working under the assumption they're both not playing this week.
Yeah, and from what I read too, it seems like he seemed more optimistic about Trent playing than Ayuk playing.
For sure.
So we'll pencil in Trent Williams. We'll assume Ayuk's out.
Okay.
But don't take us at our word for Trent. But the big ones are Mostert, Wilson coming back, and then Debo's back. And I wish Ayuk could play so we could see what they look like together.
Right.
Haven't really gotten that yet, but having Debo back is really good. It's going to help the offense. I really want to test the theory of how important Mostert is to this offense because I've been saying he is the system. Kittle's the best player, but Mostert's the system. So I'm interested to see what the Niners and Shanahan does. Jordan Reed is not out. He should be playing. I don't think he has an injury. I haven't read anything on him.
I mean, he has an illness too. So it's not it's not like set in stone. But I would suspect he's playing.
Well, that's the scary thing about the COVID is now we're getting into flu season, so it's a lot of sickness going around, and I'm sure we'll talk about the situation with the Ravens too. But the offense should be quote unquote back to full strength. Obviously, no Kittle, no Garoppolo, but yeah, I'm excited to see Shanahan do stuff with this offense. And what did you see with the Rams defense? Do you think the Niners can put together a game plan like they did against Aaron Donald, those quick runs, those quick passes? Do you think they'll be as effective this time against Donald? And also Jalen Ramsey too. He's playing a lot better than what he was earlier in the season. He's going to be another issue for that Rams defense.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, like, honestly, I'm nervous on offense too, and I'm going to tell you why. The 49ers are going to try the short pass thing. They're definitely going to try that again because I don't think they want to test this secondary overall. And it's not just Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is the anchor, but this secondary has been playing incredible. I think I have some of their fancy DVOA metrics up that I can try to explain, but
can you explain what DVOA is?
DVOA is I can kind of explain it to you guys, but but it is a good way to evaluate teams. So they're 7th currently with a negative 4.9%. So what that really means, honestly, is when it's defense, you always want to have negative. When it's offense, you always want to be in positive. So if you're in positive on the defense, it's because you're performing really badly. And that's how they are. They're top 10 against the pass. Again, the 49ers are going to try their damnedest to keep the ball, keep Aaron Donald away. My fear is the Rams know exactly what that looks like now with a less of a quarterback, right, at this point. And you're not really as nervous, for him to test you down the field. So the 49ers are going to have to do a little bit more than that. If the 49ers can't run the ball in this game, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because as we alluded to on the show with Grant, if Nick Mullins has to drop back 45 times, 40 times, he's going to die. Especially if we believe that Trent Williams doesn't play. Like, let's just say it's school and it's McKivitz. It's going to get hairy. It's going to get really hairy if they have to throw the ball a lot. So obviously run the ball. Do not turn the ball over, please. Do not turn the ball over. But we were told the Rams only had 3 good plays. Is this the meme? Is this it? Yes,
that's the meme. I mean, I don't know. Listen, man, the Rams defense, it's a good defense. Like, that's the thing. But
they're coached up. Their defensive coordinator is going to be in the looking for a head coaching job somewhere. He will.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, listen, their defense is headlined by those 3 big names: Donald, Brockers, and Ramsey. But there's a lot there too. I mean, their defense is good. Their defense is good. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough matchup for the 49ers. And I'm so in between on this just because I know what the 49ers can be, especially with Mostert back. And it's going to be very important with Mostert back and Jeff Wilson back as well. The Niners should, I don't want to overestimate, but like 30 runs, 35 runs, maybe. Just try and shorten the game as well. Keep that offense off the field. It's
that first drive is going to be great. Watch the first drive. They're going to come out of the game. They're going to kill it. They're going to do exactly what you said, right? They're going to do that. Now the problem is after that, it's like, we've heard about Shanahan scripting, like each play scripts another, and I think that we really have seen that. I think more this year because it's not working. And what I mean by that is it's all there for him. He's calling all the right plays, but when it doesn't get executed, then it looks worse than it is, right? But he's still in the right thought process. So it's got to be like that consistently across the game where they can't turn the ball over. And if you get a shot at a touchdown and you get 3 shots near the goal line, you got to put one of those in. You can't take field goals, and that's because Goff's not going to be bad like this again. I'm telling you, he's going to be better in this game.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be another really important field position game. The Niners are going to have to run the ball well. They're going to have to hold on to the ball. If they give the Rams short field like they did with the Saints, the Rams are going to run wild. The Rams are they're like I don't have a better way to describe the Rams than they are a good football team. That's what they are. I'm not going to say they're great. I'm not going to say they're Super Bowl contenders. They're a good team that they're more often than not, they're not going to beat themselves. You're gonna have to beat them, and now the question is Nick Mullins good enough to beat them? Is having no Ayuk good enough to beat them? I'm really stumped by this game. Like it really annoys me that I have no other opinions on this game other than it's going to be a tough battle for the 49ers, and the Rams are good.
I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers won this game. I just don't think they will.
That's my thing too. Is I am very much on both sides of this game, and I was joking with you before, and I don't even think I'm joking at this point that I think if the 49ers win this game, I am all in on a playoff push again, because now all of a sudden you got Monday night against the Bills, which probably a loss, but who knows? Any given Sunday or Monday in that case, you got the Washington football team who I'm a little afraid of just because of that pass rush, but in theory, you should be able to beat them. And then you got the Cowboys. You should be able to beat them. And now let's say hypothetically, somehow way, the Niners beat the Rams. They upset the Bills. They do what they're supposed to do with the Washington football team and the Cowboys. 4 wins in a row. Now you're sitting at 8-6.
Are we certain that this team can beat the Washington football team?
I'm not. I tweeted that last night. That the Niners play the Washington football team in a couple weeks, and I'm scared. I think the Washington football team is better than people give them credit for. I think Alex Smith has really stabilized that team. Do they get a lot of help playing in the NFC East? Yes, absolutely. But that pass rush is scary, and the Niners have had a really hard time against, good pass rushes. So it's kind of a give and take. But if you want to look at this positively, maybe they beat the Rams and it turns into something, and all of a sudden, who knows? They're 8-6 going into week 16. Who knows? But do I think they can beat the Rams? Yes. Do I know they can beat the Rams? No. Does that make sense? Probably not.
No, it does. It's us giving ourselves wiggle room, right? So many people bang the table, certainly on one side. But I can definitely see the 49ers, there is a world where the 49ers win this game. How do they get to it? The same way you said, running the ball and keeping the ball away from the Rams, and getting enough stops and putting up points on them, and keeping their defense tired. So it's, there's the path to it. How likely is it is really where we're at with it. So, you could probably already tell where I'm leaning. Just the more that I watch them and the more that I've watched them lately, I know what the 49ers look like. I know exactly who's out there. Didn't really have to watch them too much. I really was just watching the Rams, and I walked away really impressed, man. Like, how could you have not? Monday night, they were toying with the Bucs, toying with them, running the same play, just flipping them, like almost like Madden, right? Like when you have an advantage against somebody who doesn't know how to stop the play, you just flip the play and it comes from another way, and it's the same thing over and over. They literally did that 3 times in the first drive. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, how does this NFL team not see this happening? The same little hook route where Kupp is just sitting in the middle of the field. They're just letting it happen from both sides.
Well, I've told you my theory on the Buccaneers anyway, so you know how I feel about them in night games.
No, you're right.
I think the Buccaneers really
they get.
I really think the Buccaneers struggle at night games because those 8:30 start times on the East Coast for Tom Brady's a little too late for the 41-year-old man, and he's tired. He just wants to go to bed. Apparently
Jameis curse.
I heard yesterday he had pumpkin pie, according to sources. So we'll see what kind of shape he's in. I know the I don't know how keto or whatever diet Tom Brady has. Pumpkin pie helps, but we'll see. I hope, man. What jerseys are the Rams going to play? That might change my. Are they going to wear the blues or the bones? Because I kind of like the bone jerseys.
But they're home though, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you wear. Sometimes teams wear their away jerseys.
Maybe. I don't know. I would be surprised if the 49ers are probably wearing the white, so they'll be wearing the blue.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm in the minority on saying I think the Rams uniforms are actually kind of nice. They look real good.
They stopped bothering me a long time ago, actually.
Yeah, I think it's really with every uniform is when they get released, they look bad because like we don't see them in action on TV, and then you see them and they're like, oh, that's not bad. I really like the jersey matchup they had with the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers wearing their pewter grays, and the Rams wearing their bone whites. And actually, we have a real. I don't know if you've watched any college football today. We have a really good jersey matchup right now. Oregon's playing Oregon State, and Oregon's wearing their neon yellows, and Oregon State's wearing their highlighter oranges. It's a heck of a color combo.
As long as it's not on that blue ass grass. I can't watch that.
Imagine it. Oh, have you seen Eastern Washington? Eastern Washington's a Big Sky team. They play in Sacramento State's conference. They are like Boise State, but they have an all red field.
No. Why?
Could you imagine if the Niners roll out next year with an all red field?
Oh, why? Why would you do that? The blue burns my brain.
To get back on track here,
yeah,
I definitely think that the Niners strategy should try to be like, and this is going to be kind of the universal thing I say for the rest of the season. I really think the Niners should try to do what they did on the first drive against the Saints. Really just slow down the game, speed up the game, try and run the ball a lot, have that long possession, and try and do it more than just the first possession of the game, because the Niners looked really good in the first quarter, and then they started losing the field position battle, and then that's when they stopped scoring. If they can do that a little more consistently, you never know. You never know, and I think that's going to be the strategy from here on out from Shanahan, and it's probably going to be a lot easier with Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert back. So just be ready for the run game, Niner fans. Right. Just be ready for the run game. That's all I can say.
Right. And then, the other thing is like, I'm talking about the Rams missing opportunities. Let's be frank. Even with Jimmy Garoppolo in that game, they missed opportunities. There was guys running open on the film that weren't being seen. There was guys that he was trying to get the ball to that he couldn't. So that, I mean, that should make you feel better if you're a 49er fan too, right? We just talked about this great defense. We just talked about how the 49ers went up and down the field on them in the first half. And in the second half, there was a bunch of plays that were there to be had. So it wasn't like the 49ers were exactly getting choked out or anything like that, like as far as what they could do. Probably more based on execution. So there is plays there for them to be made. So, I mean, again, would I be surprised the 49ers won this game? Nope. But the problem is that I find it hard to, get behind Nick Mullins in this game and to go into LA to get it done. The Rams can win this game and pretty much like call it a playoff seeding already. Like they're in.
Yeah, and you bring up Mullins, and somebody brought up earlier like the turnover battle and not turning the ball over. That's not Nick Mullins' specialty, and that makes it a little more worrisome. Is how often he turns the ball over, and part of the field position battle is not turning the ball over. Do you trust Mullins to have a clean slate game? And at this point, no, he hasn't really shown that he can do that. Right. He's had some if you want to say Garoppolo had some atrocious throws, I mean. Yeah. If Garoppolo's throws were atrocious, what do you call Nick Mullins? I mean, the one against, I know this is way back when, the one in Philadelphia, the pick six that ended the game, even the one in New Orleans a couple weeks ago, that New Orleans game feels like it was like a month and a half ago at this point.
Right. Yeah.
But even the interception he threw in New Orleans, that was just right to the Saints defender. Yeah. So big part of it is not turning the ball over. And can you trust Mullins to not turn the ball over when Aaron Donald is breathing down his neck and he has to force a ball into coverage with Jalen Ramsey there, or who's the one? I'm drawing a blank on his name. The safety, 43, Johnson.
Johnson's there. Troy Hill. They have a lot of great people in their secondary, man.
So it really comes down to that is do you think that Mullins can have a clean slate? Because I think the best chance the Niners have to win this game is not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds very generic because John Johnson, that's what I'm thinking of. John Johnson's back there. It's hard to imagine a clean slate game from Nick Mullins at this point.
That's the thing, though. We say it every week, and that's what you were alluding to, right? Like, what are the keys to winning this game? Don't turn the ball over. Well, if you're going to turn it over, I think the 49ers are like -5 in the turnover margin, all year. So that's not going to get it done regardless of who's playing, quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, you could say that every week. But, yeah, I mean, if the 49ers really want to try, if the 49ers want to strip everything away from this, they'll do it this week because Debo's there, because Mostert's back, because Wilson's there, right? So, like, it's almost like this offense has a built-in excuse, almost like, hey, we're missing everybody. So, but now if this week this offense comes out and they throw up an egg with Debo, with Mostert and all that, then that's when you really, should know where this team's at. So I understand exactly, like, this game is the last gasp, last ditch effort, right? To like get some positivity going, right? And see where you're going because more reinforcements come down the line. I understand all that. And I'm with that. It's just that when I look at where this Rams team is now and where they were in week 6 when they met, it's not the same team right now. And Sean McVay he's in his bag with his play calling, and he's just, now he has 3 great backs that he's using in different ways. Like Cam Akers, if he ever decides to turn it over to Cam Akers, people are in trouble. Like if he ever just decides to give Cam Akers the ball, people would be in trouble. He just uses him sparingly.
And I mean, really, in terms of the 49ers season, if the Niners lose this, you could just, I mean, really, if they lose another game at this point, you could really just say it's done because the 7th seed right now in the NFC is the Cardinals at 6-4. Do you see them losing another 3 games? And you move up to the Buccaneers at 7-4. Do you see them losing another 3 games? The Niners are going to have to be perfect from this point. 7 losses isn't going to make the playoffs. 8 sure as hell isn't. So this is really one of those games where if they lose, it's probably a wrap because now you lose to the Rams. Now all of a sudden you got the Bills on Monday night. That's a tough game.
Right.
You lose that. Now you're 4-8. It's done. It's done. So
here, I'll ask you a question.
Okay. I'll give you an answer.
I know. Well, I hope so. I'll ask you this: how important is it for this team to come out and still try to win this game, show the sort of fight that championship teams do when they're hurt, when they're down, because it happens to not just the 49ers. How important is it to send a message to not only the people that are going to be here, but from the people on the outside looking in that no matter what, the 49ers are still going to be putting up championship level, effort and playing really hard.
Well, that's my thing is like, all I care about from any sports team in general, not just football, is just be competitive. Like the Niners could be 0-16 and they lose all those 16 games by 16 points. Like all 1-point loss is just the worst luck you can have. They were competitive. What more can you ask? Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce the right way, right? And so like, really, I know a lot of people want to see this team, and I'm not for it, is a lot of people want to see this team lose so they can get a better draft pick. I just want them to be competitive. That's all I ask for. And they were competitive for about, they were competitive against the Saints. That was a competitive football game. Whether or not they were in it or not, that's another question. But they really did. They competed with the Saints. And that's all I look for is like, man, they can go 0-6 in these last 6 games. And if they get blown out, it's going to suck. It's going to make our jobs easier because it's a lot easier to talk about the negative than it is the positive. But I would rather sit here and talk and say, hey, on Wednesday, yeah, the Niners lost to the Rams 24-20. But man, if they could have just they had the ball at the end of the game, they could have won that game. I'd much rather talk about that and sit here and say, hey, they're a competitive football team. So, yeah. I mean, to me, yeah, I want them to be competitive. Does it suck that it's because, that we're talking about being competitive at week 12 at this point of the season? Yeah, it does. But it's the reality of this situation. The 49ers are a 4-6 football team. Yeah. I just want them to be competitive from here on out. Whether it turns into wins or losses, I personally don't care. I've already let go of the playoff hopes, kind of, unless they beat the Rams, and then we're going to be here on Wednesday just talking about playoffs. Just give me a competitive football team to talk about, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, that's what you definitely want, right? You always want them to be like that, you know. And yeah, you know, if they win this game, then you know there's a lot more optimism. I think that because the guys are back now I think they can at least be, or we can evaluate this portion of the offense and how they are with who's left, like as best we can, because Debo's there, because Most's there, right? Like, so now I think, like I said, if this team comes out and they throw up an egg, or if they like, you know, they look, you know, and turn the ball over the way they did against the Saints, right? Because, you know, they have all these guys back, then I think it's the time to just turn the page and just say, yeah, I think this is it. But, you know, I think they've always had that excuse built in for them that all those guys weren't there and they're just executing with who they have, which is not an excuse. It's just the reality. I should take that back. It's not an excuse, but they've always had that there. Now, now you can't run from that now, you know, so it's right there for you. So I you know, that's what I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see if it was just that they were missing these guys. Was it that?
Yeah. And like, I guess the best way to put it is, the Niners have the Seahawks in week 17, right? And let's say the Niners lose every game up into that point, right? So they go into the Seahawks game at 4-11. I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, let's just, for this hypothetical, and let's say if the Niners lose to the Seahawks, they get the 4th pick. I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers out here. But if they beat the Seahawks, it drops them to the 11th pick somehow, 5-11, whatever. I know that probably isn't mathematically possible. 10 out of 10 times, I would say, yes, beat the Seahawks. 10 out of 10 times. I don't care about draft position that much. Especially knowing this front office and this organization, if there's a guy they want, they're going to go get him. So yeah, like I would pick winning games over draft picks personally. And I know that's somewhat of a minority pick there, but that's just me. I just want them to be competitive, and I want fun stuff to talk about instead of sitting here and talking about, well, Nick Mullins didn't look great, and you know, who's another guy we like to pick on, you know, like that type of stuff. So yeah, for me, I want them to be competitive. If they lose, they lose, but I would rather them win from this point on, just in general.
Yeah. I just have a tough time seeing it now, you know, because I know that Mullins is going to try to push the ball downfield at least a little bit, you know, and when we say downfield, we're not talking deep shots, we're talking 10, 15 yards. Yeah, that's downfield, you know, and that's where I get nervous. It's just where their secondary is at, the where they're playing right now, you know, and you can't just expect. See, I think the other thing is too is that it's going to be foolish to expect Brunskill to just like eliminate Aaron Donald, right? Like if I'm the defensive coordinator for them, I'm moving Aaron Donald everywhere that he can win. That's it. Just keeping him like in spots. And if it's an obvious passing down, you know, go get him, you know. But then if it's deep and it's long passes, then you have to understand the 49ers are probably just going to be looking at just getting the ball and just punting it out, you know, like, and that's scary.
You just got to have in the back of your head, you're going to get 3 seconds before Aaron Donald's on you. That's all.
And don't underestimate that he's not angry about, you know, everything that was said after and everything as well too. So, you know, he's probably got revenge on his mind. Remember, the first time that they played, Aaron Donald had minimal impact. The second game with the 2 3rd and 16 conversions in the fourth quarter, Aaron Donald was all over the place. So like I said, it's foolish for you to think that Aaron Donald is just going to be quiet in 2 straight games, because I don't foresee that happening.
Yep. And so from here, I guess if you guys want to start
questions,
filling in with some questions, we'll make our picks.
There you go.
Oh, you want to start with questions? Okay.
Yeah.
McKivitz starting at right guard. I don't know. Jason, I feel like that's more of your question, because as I said, I really didn't see much today. I just saw the tweets. Is McKivitz starting at right guard this Sunday?
I would probably say so. That's what the reports have been from the beat writers. A few of them have just hinted at it and said that it's probably him at right guard, you know, with Brunskill back at center. So, you know, Grass was in the doghouse. So it'll look like if I had a best guess right now, School,
Shanahan doghouse,
School, Tomlinson, Grasu, Brunskill. No, to School. Oh my God, School, Tomlinson, Brunskill, McKivitz, and McGlinchey.
McGlinchey.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Why is Grasu in the doghouse? The Seattle game. Kyle Shanahan said it. It was something that he said in a press conference, like kind of passing by. But yeah, it was a Seattle game because he couldn't stop Bobby Wagner.
Can we get a nickname for the right side of that line, McKivitz and McGlinchey, like the Mick something?
Let's get them to block some stuff first, and then we'll give them a nickname. Let's see. Yeah, let's see how they do this week. If they do well this week, then we'll give them a little bit of a nickname.
Yeah, okay.
The turnstile. See, look what you did.
No. I want positive nicknames I want a nickname because it's Mick Kivitz and Mick Glinchy. Like I don't know, like if they're good, like McDonald's Playhouse, like something like creative. I don't want to call them the turn. Come on, guys, too much negativity in the chat.
Which one would be the Hamburglar? If it was the two of them.
Oh man. Oh.
Sorry, we're off the rails here.
What's the purple one's name?
The Hamburglar.
No, the Hamburglar is the one with Grimace. Oh, yeah. Oh man. Oh, okay. So we're brain. So listen. Okay, promise right now, Wednesday, if the right side of the line allows no pressures and it's McKivitz and McGlinchey, we're coming up with a nickname.
Yeah. Oh my God. These comments in there.
No. Kid, D Ford isn't part of this. It's McKivitz and McGlinchey. That's all.
Ooh. All right. Look, we got to take this one too. Just imagine Zach Wilson passing to Kittle, Deebo, and Ayuk. Yeah. I imagine it a lot. Unfortunately, here's the thing, right? Life isn't always how you want it to go. And if this year's taught us anything, as 49ers, well, just as people, forget 49ers fans, things aren't going to go the way you want.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
And I don't know if Javi is watching. I know sometimes he's watching, sometimes he's not. What if the 49ers draft Zach Wilson and he's not good?
Hey, it's possible.
Just a genuine like I feel like this team is convinced, or this fan base is convinced, and partially because of Javi, and I love Javi's positivity about it. But like, where do the 49ers go if and it doesn't even have to be a Zach Wilson question. It can be a who's the Alabama Mac whatever Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask.
What's the North Dakota one? Trey Lance, like whatever quarterback they end up with, what if they're bad? Then where do the 49ers go?
Could be. Like that's how it is with any draft pick. Forget, just not quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, it's even more dicey.
Yeah.
But, hey, that's the thing too, right? Is getting your hopes up. See, that's what I mean about life doesn't go the way you want it to go, right? Like you have your...
And I guess, too, it's fans looking for something positive at this point, just because of what the season is, and I don't want to poo-poo on like your hopes and dreams of Zach Wilson, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, and I understand like looking forward to the future of the 49ers is kind of the move right now because of where they're at. But yeah, hypothetically, they could be worse than Hoyer or Gabbert. Trust me, there's been worse quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, worse than Hoyer and Gabbert. Like there's a possibility really for anything at this point, and I understand the positivity. So I guess that's just my devil's advocate question on that. So,
right. Well, hey, look, all I'm going to say is this. I understand what you guys see. I see it too. I would love for that to happen, but be prepared. Always prepare yourself for disappointment, because if you don't get that, then it's good, So, yeah, I would love it, but I'm not in charge of the team,
Could you imagine if we were in charge of the team?
Imagine I would buckle under the pressure after a few hours. The way that we talk about, the moves that are made on Twitter, if I thumb through it and they're like, Apate won't trade for anybody, and I'll be like, yeah, I quit, I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm out.
Honestly, man, like a draft war room feels like the most stressful place. Like it's so insane, and I do it too. It's insane how quick these picks get judged. Like draft grades the night of the draft. These kids haven't even signed their contracts yet, and they're getting graded. Oh my goodness. The Niners drafted Billy McBillinson and with the 7th pick. Goodness gracious. D-. They didn't need a cornerback. What are you talking? I couldn't do it. Like as fun as it is to talk about it, man, like these are multi-million-dollar decisions these people are making, and like they make it so easily and so quickly.
Dude, think about the people that get stressed at their fantasy football drafts. And and that's like right around. Now imagine you're tasked with rebuilding a team, right? You have to do a complete rebuild. Like you're brought there to be looked to do that. Yeah, right.
Well, even and it can't be fun either, because like if you look at the Jets, right? The Jets are 0-10. They're probably going to take Trevor Lawrence. And this is the unfair aspect of this, right? Is Trevor Lawrence is the consensus number 1 pick in the draft. And so let's say hypothetically, right, they draft Trevor Lawrence. And Zach Wilson falls to 6th or wherever he falls. And Trevor Lawrence ends up being bad. And Zach Wilson ends up being a really good pro. People are going to revisionist history it in 10 years. They're going to be like, well, imagine if the Jets drafted Zach Wilson.
Right.
Even though in the year 2020, everybody's saying Trevor Lawrence is the first pick. He's the guy. He's going to flip your franchise. If you're wrong, people are going to say you were wrong to make that pick. It's insane. It's
like even right now, right? Like even right now, I've seen people want to do this. Everybody said Joe Burrow was the pick. Now, because of what Justin Herbert is doing, everybody's like, "Oh, look at Herbert." You know, like that was the pick. That was the right pick at the moment, you know, and that's it. You can't fault them for whatever their evaluation was. Cincinnati Bengals needed a franchise guy, and Joe Burrow was the one that was the most. At least we thought. The most NFL ready.
And what's crazy about this too is like we're just talking about in the sense of the Bengals and the sense of the Jets, 2 bad football teams in their respective drafts. Now you spin it to the 49ers, who like this is the pick that's going to get us to the next level and make us Super Bowl contenders again. So much stress on that, man. Like
right.
when we just get to sit here and talk about it behind our little computer screens.
That's it. It's perfect. Let's see. Any more questions we got in here? Washington football team probably, you know, the thing is though, is if they win their division, which I think they might, they have to move really far back, like regardless of their record.
I think, oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on his name. We played Among Us with him. Zach tweeted out yesterday that the Washington football team went from the 4th pick in the draft to the 19th pick in the draft with the win last night.
Yeah, because they're about to be the division win. It's them or the Giants at this point. That's so sad. That is so sad. Yep. I can't believe that I'm saying those words out of my mouth. The Giants might be the best team in that division because they have the best defense in that division, I think overall. As crazy as that sounds, right? They have Chase Young and everything. I think the Giants actually have a good defense. They just got Nick Mullins.
They got Nick Mullins back. God, you remember how long ago that was? That was when we were doing shows talking about having to answer questions with people saying, hey, is Mullins better than Garoppolo?
Take me back.
So long ago.
Take me back.
Anyways, do we want to make our picks for Sunday and then wrap it up?
Sure. You go first.
As it stands right now, the Rams are sitting at a 6.5 point favorites. Sid, no. Sorry, that was rude. No, the Niners should not bring back Alex Smith as a bridge quarterback. That's not going to happen.
Why? But why not?
I think they're going to look to go because at that point, you have a cheaper version of what Garoppolo is. So I guess in that sense, it makes sense, but I don't think they're looking for a 36-year-old quarterback.
Can I tap into the mic real quick and tell you something?
Yes.
Alex Smith on one leg is more mobile than Jimmy Garoppolo was.
That's fair.
I saw it yesterday.
Well, what people forget is Alex Smith was an option quarterback in college.
Put some respect on that man's name. Now, if he comes over here and he wants to come back and, whatever, he wants to take for a quarterback, a small contract while we have a guy, somebody like a Zach Wilson, he's already done it before. He can run this offense well enough, to keep the team competitive and also groom the kid. I am not against that at all. Javi actually said it. And I did the same thing that I scoffed at it. I was like, Then he started explaining it, and it just my eyes opened wider and wider, and I was like, I get it now. I completely get it. And when he was over, I was like, dude, yeah, man. Like, so yeah, so okay. Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I mean, is it likely? Again, no. I'm gonna give myself my wiggle room here, where I didn't say it was likely, but I wouldn't be against it. I really wouldn't.
Okay. So yeah, as it stands right now, the Rams are 6.5-point favorites. As I said a few weeks ago, I'm not making final score predictions anymore. I am picking the Rams outright, but I'm going to take the 49ers at plus 6.5.
Okay. Yeah. Just again, I see a team at a different level right now than this team. If Jimmy Garoppolo was here with just Debo, with Mostert and these guys, then I would be inclined to believe that the 49ers could do it. It's just, I get queasy with Nick Mullins back there. Adding to the fact that now Trent Williams is probably not going to play this week doesn't make me feel good about his chances this week. The 49ers have to really run the ball. I'm happy to see Mostert and Wilson, and they'll be back, and they're going to give this team a huge lift. Think about that. Now McKinnon can go back to being third if they don't want to, I guess overuse Wilson right off the bat. But yeah, I've got the Rams 28-21 beating the 49ers in this one. Score will probably not make it as close as it was, or as, make the game seem as close as it was. So.
Like a garbage time touchdown or something to get it.
Something like that. Okay. Yeah,
that's fair.
Here's a good question.
Oh yeah, I was literally just gonna.
Where we go?
Yeah. No? Yeah, I would. Why not? I mean, if you think Zach Wilson's the guy, you kind of got to sell out for him, right?
So multiple first rounders. It depends, right? Like it depends on where they'd have to go, right? Like what? So the Wentz deal is the one that I always point to, right? Like that was to go up like one or two spots or something like that, right? Or was it more than that? I'm sure it was more than that.
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it was probably like 17 spots, but they gave up a ton. Now here's the thing, right? The multiple first rounder thing, right? You might be scared and say, no, why would you do that, right? But if you look at all the players that wound up developing from that trade for Wentz, they weren't really anybody of impact. There was maybe two of them, if I believe, 2 or 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, that actually were of note in the league. So, just remember that when you have all these, when you have all of these draft picks, yes, it's nice to have them and it gives you more chances to hit. But just remember that they're not, it's not a given that you're like, because you have all these picks, you're going to hit. You could draft all bums, all busts. So. Mm-hmm.
So to give you an idea of what it would cost for Zach Wilson to trade up, the Eagles got the number 2 pick in the 2016 draft and a 2017 4th-round pick. The Browns got the 8th pick in 2016, the 77th pick in 2016, the 100th pick in 2016, a 2017 first-round pick, and a 2018 second-round pick. And now, if you want, I can actually go even further and tell you what those players ended up being.
Yeah.
If you want to talk while I look this up.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that one of them is Denzel Ward, right? For Cleveland. That's a hit. I can't remember. Who the other one is. I know it's like 1 or 2 or 3. I think.
Oh goodness, they traded some of these picks too. So
right, exactly.
Now my brain hurts and I don't want to think too hard about it. The 8th pick in 2016. What draft am I on 2016? So they ended up trading back again, actually, because they made the 15th pick in 2016 and it was Corey Coleman.
Yeah, he's out. He's not on anybody's roster. Keep going.
Yeah. So I'm trying to eyeball this because it looks like the Bills are the 8th. So I'm just going to make it easy on my head. The Titans had the 8th pick in 2016. They drafted Jack Conklin, a tackle.
He's on the Browns now.
The 77th pick in this draft was selected by the Carolina Panthers, Daryl Worley.
Okay.
The 100th pick in the draft was made by the Raiders. Connor Cook, who started their playoff game for them.
Not in the league anymore. XFL legend. Anymore.
The Browns with the 2017 pick They had the first pick with Myles Garrett, but the Eagles. Now I'm really confused because the Eagles have a first round pick in 2017 too. I don't even see.
I think you proved the point though. We talked about Corey Coleman. We talked about Connor Cook. Like these are what these draft picks ended up being, right? Like, and that's what happens in these drafts, right? So it's like, yeah, I understand the hesitance to, say, oh, we don't want to, give up the farm. But when in terms of what you're getting, like what a franchise quarterback does is lift up the team every week. Like if Pat Mahomes' defense, like if all those guys got injured, would you still be sitting there like, oh, they're done, because they're injured? No, they have a guy that can lift them up on offense. And that's why you make a move for a guy that you can believe that can do that. Yes, it'll come at the sacrifice of not being able to fill other holes. But if a franchise quarterback is there lifting your team up with his play, that fills those other holes at times. Honestly, it does.
To me, draft picks are like, I think it's a Family Guy episode, right? Where it's Family Guy's on The Price is Right, and Peter's offered a brand new car or what's behind door number 2, and he picks door number 2 because he's like, well, what if it's a brand new car?
Right.
And it's that sort of thing. It's like, if you can get your guy and get rid of door number 2. If Zach Wilson's the grand prize and you have to give up door number 2, right. If you think Zach Wilson's the guy, don't make it a mystery at this point. Make the pick you want. And if door number 2 happens to be a brand new car, then that sucks. But door number 2 might just be, $5, So
right.
I've never understood the fear of trading future picks. Especially for a team as good, because like if let's say best case Zach Wilson ends up being a player that the 49ers get and win a Super Bowl next year, the first pick you're trading is the 32nd pick in the draft. It's not a top tier pick, so it's
right. That's a second rounder.
It's a really interesting conversation, and I feel like it's one that'll be more fitting for February.
Bro, every week
March
it's
going up into the draft. I know every week it's the topic of conversation.
If the 49ers lose this week, next week it's going to get louder. The week after that, it's going to get louder.
And that's naturally how it's going to be, right? And I'm not complaining about that's what the conversation is.
No,
I'm just saying my brain will be more clear about what I think the Niners should do in the draft come March, as opposed to now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I guess, obviously rooting for the 49ers this week, rooting for them because I want them to win. And now all this Ramley stuff, is kind of, it's kind of gotten me into like wanting to be petty a little bit. Like, I think I saw a little bit of it. Oh no, you know what it was? I saw Akash drag one of them real quick. And I was
because one of them, their like answer back to, what was said on the SI show was like, well, what about this guy, and this guy? And Akash was like, they had like 2 pressures against the 49ers.
Or they had like 0 pressures in that game.
Yeah.
I was like, good God. Like that man had a family.
That's all it was. So anyways, I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I thank you guys for joining. We got the fancy new background, so I guess this was like a good trial run for us. It's going to be something similar to that. So if you feel like we weren't answering your questions in the comments, it's more because this is going to be an audio podcast in which we will have to speak. We're happy to have you guys here live, but when we get towards the end is when we'll be, checking through questions. So don't think that we weren't seeing them or anything like that. Salute to everybody who was in here, asking questions, and appreciate you, Art, for that, man. Thank you for the kind words, but yeah, we're just happy that you guys are here again, on a Friday. Everybody's here for the weekend. So, it's time to get another win for the 49ers. Let's see how they do. And, thank you guys as usual.
Yeah, the format's going to change a little bit, just how often we answer questions. That's just really the only thing that's going to change. The content's going to stay the same. We're going to talk 49ers and have fun with it. So, yeah. Jason, do you want to close it out with what we say, or is it my turn?
No, we can do it. Thank you guys for joining. And
go 49ers.
Let's go Niners. He said it before.
Go Niners. Thank you. Right. That's why I tried to count down. Later, guys. Hey, have a good night, guys. Have a good weekend. Have a good